Ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs, we are live for the Beacon TVL show. It's me, Chris, head coach, director of client success, major happy guy with Beacon DeFi, here with a first time guest on our panel. We got another Chris from XRP.Cafe, first ledger for the XRP ledger. Chris, good to have you here, brother. I love that we have the same name. We vibe right. We have the same types of things coming out of our mouths. I love it.
Yes, sir.
How are you, sir?
Pretty good. And Chris, thank you for having me on here, and
Of
thank you for the
course.
warm introduction.
My pleasure. So we met last week at Permissionless. I've got the XRP hat on. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the hat that I wanted out of everything I saw there. And I've got a ton of hats. And in fact, I'll talk about this hat right here too. This is from 9DCC from G Money. This is an NFC enabled hat, guys. So basically you get this hat. G Money is a pretty decent KOL on Twitter. When you join, 9DCC, you can mint this. It's a NFT on Base blockchain. So these hats, they're satin. They go for $95. I've got 3 of them to give away. So we'll give giving away one to our mastermind, and the other 2 will be given away on TVL as well as Twitter. So look out for that information if you'd like. One thing that we got from Permissionless is an unbelievable amount of swag. As you guys know, I have a swag problem, but that's all for you guys. I've got Illuvium, $50 Illuvium cash to give away. I have at least 4 of these to give away. So if you are interested, join our free group, ladies and gentlemen. If you have not done so, please join us at TVL. Let me get the ticker going. What did I just do? Oh, right. One of those days. School.com/beacon, absolutely free. Learn about DeFi. Have you and your friends onboard into DeFi completely free from the best in the business. We're getting closer to our 1,000 member goal. When we get to that 1,000 member goal, going to have all kinds of giveaways. Maybe I'll buy something from XRP.Cafe to send to you as well as part of that. So help us get to that goal. Let everybody know it's absolutely free. Learn from the best in the business. We've been growing like crazy here at Beacon. Happy to have everybody on the on the group here. I see that XRP is bringing their people. I love that. One thing I also wanted to mention today is that Ripple Swell is going on, which is their annual conference about Ripple and XRP. This is day number 2, and I believe this is the last day. They're out in Miami,
Yep.
which I'm actually a bit jealous about today because it is. I take that back. It's nice and cool here in the Midwest. We're looking at like beautiful, like 60-degree weather. Leaves are turning. Out where you are, Chris, I'm sure it's wonderful as well.
I drove down to the beach a couple days back, and there's this one road with just trees on both sides, and it looks like a coloring book. It's absolutely beautiful. So I do like the changing of seasons up in the Northeast. And, this is when we get a lot of people from, New York, New Jersey coming down, checking out the trees. It's kind of a crazy phenomenon.
Exactly. And that's the main reason why, right?
100%, 100%.
All right. Just wanted to repost our little live stream tweet. It is out now. If you are watching, please like and retweet that. Or if you're on our YouTube, please like and subscribe. Follow, get your notifications. We're here every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern time, talking to the best and the brightest here in Web3 and DeFi. One thing I wanted to talk about was our experience last week at Permissionless. It was a great event for Beacon. A lot of people know Beacon's name now, thanks to Bankless, thanks to Blockworks for putting on a fantastic event. It was a smaller event than, say, ETH Denver, but I guess everything is smaller compared to like ETH Denver and Token 2049. But there are a lot of things that were announced from there. Solana talked about their new Solana Developer Bootcamp. Definitely check that out in the show notes. I thought Say's Basketball Slam was really cool. There was a pickleball event.
I was mad that I missed that. Did you end up going?
I didn't. I went to, what was I doing? I went to Farcaster Friday, which was an awesome event in itself. Yeah. There's a lot of, for what there weren't as many people at this event, but I will say the quality of connections you made in this event was second to none. I have met some amazing people. I'm excited to share, with you guys a lot of the content partnerships that'll be coming from this. For me personally, I was a big fan of the Barachain event. That was a lot of fun. Did you check out Barachain, Chris?
No, I didn't. Honestly, just due to the size of the event and where all the companies were located, we just had people coming up to the booth the whole entire day. I think I
Fair
said
enough.
over like 100,000 words. I had no time to leave and go collect swag, so I'm jealous.
Well, if you want anything, just let me know.
I will. I will.
I did pick up, like, I had to buy it. I had to go buy a duffel for this. And like I said, I've got everything. And I normally pack a duffel, but I have water bottles. Uh, I have Bitcoin socks. I've
Ooh,
got t-shirts. I've got other kinds of water mugs. I even have, thanks to DeFi.app, we also have condoms for anybody who has that.
wow.
I know. I know.
I mean, hey,
Not much.
crypto provides for every single community, I
Crypto
guess, you know.
provides, right? Crypto provides. But yeah, for me, getting on, we were fortunate to be at the Van Eck rooftop event. That was very nice. Met some nice connections there. Um, and yeah, just had a great time. I think Karate Combat was probably the wildest thing too. Specifically because and I'm not a big violence guy, but just seeing that Brave Browser DeFi Kingdoms on a karate fight pit, like on like over, I was like, it's like what year are we in? This is crazy. So,
Oh,
uh,
the production value of Karate Combat really blew me away.
oh
Seeing
yeah, you
seeing
see
how
like
it's
the
on
monitor,
oh my
yeah,
God, yeah, I was watching that the whole time and they had like all the 3D animations and all that.
yeah.
It was a lot of
I'm all
production
looking
value.
around. I'm like, where are we?
I'm like,
Because
wait,
I
where's the
don't see that at
spaceship
all.
above? Yeah.
Like we're like on some spaceship flying out through the universe where people are fighting each other. But
And then also the crowd that they were able to bring, a lot of like Web 2 influencers like
yes,
Mike, I think it's Mickey the Gambler,
hmm,
and then yeah, there was just a lot of people that I recognized that were outside the crypto scene that it was pretty refreshing to see within there, especially within a blockchain like HBAR, which again is similar to the XRPL in community size and volume per day.
yeah. And we'll talk a little bit about Hedera as well. They have some things going on. I did want to say, of course, thanks to XRP for the fantastic hat. Had a lot of wonderful conversations with Ripple corporate as well as people with the XRP ledger, and we'll kind of talk about that in a second. I also want to shout out Supra for this sweet, comfortable hooding. They are a layer one blockchain, supremely fast TPS. I think I saw 350K TPS, all theoretical, of course. They used to be called super oracles, and now they're having their own blockchain, much like Pyth. Pyth, of course, is also a decentralized oracle. So, big theme of this also was real world assets. The day before Permissionless, we were invited to RWA World's RWA Day, which was roughly about 7 hours of us in a big conference room embedded around a Salt Lake County security prosecutors event. So kind of weird to have crypto and law enforcement like right next to each other.
It
uh,
was wild.
that was wild.
It was wild.
But we saw a lot of good people, a lot of interest in real world assets, tokenization of all kinds. I will tell you that the vibe that I'm getting now is institutions are happy to come down to this space, mainly because BlackRock has laid the foundation with their BIDL framework that they did with Securitize and multiple partners like Ondo and people that are out there. RWAs are coming quickly, and a lot of people, brand new blockchains like our friends at Midnight, uh, are coming around for all of this information. So please be on the lookout. Please be very curious about this. Ask the questions. We're going to have as many of these people as we can on the TVL show moving forward in panels. And yeah. How about you, Chris? Tell me more about your experience of Permissionless.
So yeah, honestly, I would say Permissionless this year was definitely one of the best events just in terms of general like sentiment around the XRPL and Ripple. So we started going to events when we first launched XRP.Cafe roughly back in 2023 near the tail, probably the beginning of 2023. Consensus was the first one. And, we had a booth there, we had everything set up, and everybody that would come up to the booth would be like, oh, Ripple this, Ripple that, just pure negative comments about Ripple, which, hey, everybody has their own opinion, but at the end of the day, let's put, the hate to the side, and we're all in blockchain for, similar reasons. Now, fast forward to right now, previously at Permissionless, this was probably the best event just in terms of overall sentiment around Ripple and the XRPL being positive. We, for example, like yourself, came up to the booth. Oh, love XRP, one of the first coins that I've held. I had no clue that you guys even had an ecosystem. And then on the flip side, there was a lot of negative comments made towards Ripple, just how their tokenomics are set up with their escrow account and all that good jazz. But now people are kind of putting that on the back burner because it's not a meme coin. They're not, hoarding the stockpile for no reason. There's an exact reason for why they have that much in escrow. Um, but a lot of people were happy about, the fight that Ripple is fighting right now with the SEC because in just general crypto, what Ripple is doing is really good for the space in terms of like clarity and all that good stuff. So I would say this event was the best. And granted, it was smaller than last year. It was more intimate. I really liked how they set up the keynote speakers in separate rooms and then the side panels in separate rooms. So if you wanted to go to the project hall, your main focus was I'm going to learn about projects here. I'm not just passing by to go look at the keynote speaker or the side panels. So, like I said earlier, we literally had conversations the whole entire day, granted smaller, but also Blockworks, absolutely amazing job. I like how they had the rock climbing wall, the chessboards, and the axe throwing. I've never seen a crypto event where it was like, hey, you can talk blockchain, crypto numbers all you want, but if you want to throw a couple axes or climb up a rock wall, you can also do that as well. So I really did like that part of it because it kind of took the corporate suit environment out of it and was like, just have fun for a little bit and then you guys can get back to business.
With that said, there were a lot of different Web 2 type businesses. I met a lot of attorneys. I met quite a few crypto accounting groups, actually. We're going to have
Hmm.
a couple of them on the show soon as well. Mainly what we're looking to do, based off the leverage here, is for anybody who happens to own a business. If you, we have many members in our community who do their crypto farming in an LLC, either self-directed IRAs or checkbook IRAs or anything like that. You'll want to consider looking into, lawyers. We have
Hmm.
multiple founders in our group who are looking to do things like that need like things like offshoring and stuff like that. We have a lawyer who's going to come on and talk to us specifically about different scams out there in Web3 that you need to be familiar with and how to protect yourself. We've met a lot of great people over this last week that I think are going to be very important. But we'll go ahead and get back to our focused to start with our focused topic that we'll talk on today's show since you're here, Chris, and that's going to be about XRP Ledger. One thing that people may not realize is that DeFi is coming to XRP. And
It
I know that
is.
I know that's kind of an interesting sentence. To me, that was the most surprising part of permissionless. I heard about a lot of things at permissionless, but for me, DeFi coming to XRP, big news because we do have a lot of people in our group who have been holding XRP for quite some time. And we may have ribbed people here and there over the years about holding XRP because it's been a very bad stablecoin.
You know what? Let's just be honest. It has been pretty rough being an XRP holder.
Hmm.
Um, there was really nothing to do within the ecosystem except hold your token on a centralized exchange or within
Right.
your, cold storage, and that was basically it. Now, just kind of give like a little backdrop on, you know, the whole XRPL ecosystem. So, for example, XRP, roughly 12-year-old token, maybe a little bit older at this point. NFT support is only 2 years old at this moment. So it's an old token, but new chain, or new ecosystem, if you want to call it that, if that makes sense. And then to go even further, AMM and liquidity pool support is literally 6 months old. So Ripple's, learning what's happening on other chains, and then the great development community, because there is a huge voting process for pushing amendments live called the UNL. Once it hits a 80% threshold, amendment gets voted in, and then all the developers get to test on it before it hits mainnet, and then they can either pull their votes back or let it go. um, so it is a pretty lengthy process, but it's a good process at the end of the day.
Yeah, and one thing to note, at this moment, there are no smart contracts currently on live on XRPL mainnet, correct?
That is correct. So I'm pretty sure EVM sidechains are coming currently in beta.
Yep.
So on testnet, not sure if it's open to the public yet. um, don't quote me on that. And then we do have smart contracts, which Ripple actually just hosted a space on roughly 2 weeks ago or so, where they had David come on a Twitter space and basically go over why they were thinking about transitioning to bringing smart contracts on chain. And once we have smart contracts, the usability with NFTs and just the whole overall ecosystem will just boom after that, because it's pretty limited on what you can do with your NFTs and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and we'll come back when we come into our what we've learned section right after the news and we get our takes here. But the future is bright for XRP, in my opinion. I was very bullish hearing all of this information. Talked with multiple people. There is currently a bridge from the Corium uh, app chain on Cosmos over to XRPL. But we did have a long conversation. Andrew specifically spoke with a developer who is working on the EVM sidechain, the official EVM sidechain for XRPL. They've been working for quite some time on it, and they're close to getting to full mainnet. So it's going to be a little bit, but know that there is going to be some good EVM exposure to XRP and vice versa. So yeah, look out for it. Look out for it. It's coming soon. So with that said, the one thing I did want to bring up in terms of news for Ripple is they, day one of Swell, they announced this specific news. They announced RLUSD. They're waiting on regulatory approval from the New York Department of Financial Services, but at the CEX level, through MoonPay and most of these others like Uphold and Bitstamp, you will be able to have a Ripple-backed USD stablecoin. So something to look into. Now, it's going to be a little bit. We saw what happened with PayPal USD. It took some time for them to take hold. And, based on what I've been hearing, there's some big things coming to PayPal and Venmo with the backing of PayPal USD. So do not sleep on that company. I know that we may have had a couple comments about them a year and a half ago when they first came out. But yeah, we're seeing some moves now. With stable coins, we're going to see a lot of moves, especially with RWAs. They were front and center. There's a lot of interest in blockchain-based activity with stable coins, with RWAs, tokenizing practically everything. I'm trying to think of all that. I saw a lot of things being tokenized. We saw reinsurance as a big topic during tokenization, to the point that they're not actually calling them. They're calling them digital. They call them digital securities, so they bypass the entire Howey law, I think, or the Howey test, rather.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was an interesting talk that we heard during RWA Day from a group called Zonix. Also there at your booth as well, Chris. So there's a lot to look forward to in this space. There's a lot of interest at bringing all of this online, getting exposure, bringing good yields for anybody who wants to participate in this type of stuff. And as we find that, of course, we'll share that with the group. So yeah, interesting news about Ripple coming out with their new stablecoin. Very valid comment here about why Coinbase is not a member here yet. We'll see what happens there.
I wonder why.
I mean, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, gotta let these things kind of, as the young people like to say, let's let them cook. And we'll see what happens there. So, great questions coming in from the comments. Let's see if we can handle a couple of these, Chris, before we move over to the rest of the wrong one. There we go. Is XRPL partnering with CBDCs?
I don't work for Ripple whatsoever, so I can't really touch on that.
Right.
But there is an interest within the NFT ecosystem. So we recently just partnered with SBI Holdings, which is one of the largest firms within Japan.
Okay.
So we're helping them facilitate their POAPs, I'm pretty sure, at the World Expo in Japan. So there's a decent amount of institutions, I guess you could say, looking into the ledger. I know SBI is a huge investor in Ripple, so and the Japanese market within the NFT ecosystem is number one. They're the number one user base on our platform. They essentially
Really?
activate. It was almost an overnight thing. We were looking at our numbers, and then we went back to them. We were like, we didn't even push marketing out in Japan. They just came right to us, and we were like, hey, perfect. But that's like the first major partnership that we, as a project building on the XRPL, has had. As for CBDCs and Ripple, I personally have no clue on that front.
I would honestly say no, but XRP is from a Ripple standpoint, they're trying to have strong bases, in Africa, in underserved, unbanked countries and continents. That's where I think Ripple is going to make the most movement here. So the ledger itself, just to kind of give you guys, based on what I've been reading about it, it's not a blockchain to the same degree that we think about regular EVM and Solana blockchains. Uh, People have to host these ledgers within nodes, and then they are all kind of more of like a peer-to-peer swarm, if you're familiar with that term. That of course could change once the side chains kind of get put in, and it's really more a matter of how the data gets pushed in the back end to stay synced and all that type of stuff. But they have a full query engine that can query any of these ledgers coming in and out. So there's going to be a strong self-hosting revolution, I think, specifically with XRPL. That's going to be the one thing they're pushing towards, to help decentralize. Host your own XRP ledger node, and
Yes.
that'll help make everything more robust. That helps build consensus. That helps build security. These are all very interesting things. Of course, very brand new. So, Susan, to answer your question, that's the thing, that they're technically not affiliated. There are some things that I was told by Ripple Corporate that I'm not supposed to talk about on this call, with regards to DeFi concepts. But I think we'll hear more about what those things will be moving forward. Again, super surprised to even see this permissionless, but they've been putting in some work. I can say that the side chain's has been planned. The EVM side chain has been planned for a couple years now. There is an actual bridge to XRPL through Cosmos, IBC through Corium. It's a fairly small app chain out there, and their support, of course, is very new. I was hoping to have one of their main developers on here today, but he couldn't make it. But we will find out more moving forward. So really excited to really see what's going on as we build, moving that way. So one thing I did want to talk about real quick, as a housekeeping note, we are having a boot camp this Saturday. You can go on to TVL, look at the pinned post from Andrew to sign up if you are interested. For our Beacon Accelerator members, or Beacon Mastermind members, of course, get access already. I'll also be handing out some buddy passes for anybody who's interested. Our focus topics for the bootcamp, which is a 6-hour session with me this Saturday, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, is going to be on both research and routines, as well as Bitcoin layer 2s. So we had a really great talk with both Rootstock and BOB at Permissionless. BOB is in the OP superchain, so that they're built on top of the OP stack. I'm also talking to Stacks right now, as well as Core Blockchain, but I have a really nice relationship with Rootstock, who helped put together the hackathon at Permissionless. So thanks to them for doing that. They definitely want to work with us. So we'll have a lot of information about Bitcoin L2s and how you can really, if you're holding some Bitcoin, I wouldn't say dump everything that you have in Bitcoin into this, because it's still very new. But if you're looking to get some of that BTC working for you through the BTC layer 2s, this is something you can do. So again, if you're interested in that, check out school.com/beacon to find out more. Check out the pin post, of course, and sign up if you're interested. I will be giving out some free buddy passes. Just going to check how things are going. Of course, if you want your best chance, join me for the free training we have every Friday. It's going to be Fridays again at 3 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, 3 p.m. Eastern for Beat the Banks. So check that out as we continue to keep beating the banks out there in DeFi. And thanks to everybody in our Beacon Mastermind, of course, our founding members, as well as our Beacon Accelerator members, for helping make all of this possible. Okay, so Solana's bull run is 1 year old today. Not today, but this week, as of I think Monday.
Was that when it was at $8, right?
22, actually.
Ooh, I mean, 22 to what it's at right now. That's not bad. That's not
Yeah,
bad.
I know. I sat there and I watched it. I watched it at 8, and maybe I was just upset, but I didn't buy any.
Yeah, I was sidelined the whole time. I was pretty doom pilled when the whole FTX crash happened.
Yeah.
So I thought Solana was, I thought there was going to be some skeletons coming out of the closet. So I was like, I'm not going to touch it. And then it started going
Same.
up, and I was like,
Yeah.
maybe I'm going to go after it now. So
So anybody who had some Sol back then around 22, congrats.
yeah, congrats for
Obviously
holding.
up 10x from where you were. No, at some point you're up 10x from where you were, but I can honestly say that Solana's future is brighter than ever. Honestly, with everything they have with Web 2 stuff, with their integration with Solana Pay, with Shopify, with their new Blinks infrastructure, so you can do Solana blockchain actions anywhere. Obviously, we're very bullish on Jupiter, on Meteora, and all this
Mhm.
stuff that's out there. Yeah, the future is super bright for what we call the people's blockchain at Solana. So
Yes,
congrats to
sir.
everybody who's been a part of the scene, whether you like NFTs, whether you like GambleFi, whether you like liquidity provision or staking through whatever module. Didn't think we'd be here, but here we are with Solana. There we go. Actually, we should probably look. We didn't actually take a look at the market, which we normally start with. But with regards to where we're at today, obviously we had some serious moves over the last couple of days.
Oh
Um,
wow. Damn,
BTC is
XRP is out of the
moving.
top 5. That
They're at
shouldn't
7.
happen, guys. That shouldn't happen.
Hey, you guys. You know what? $5 tether is still on the table. So let's see where
$5.
we. That's a joke. Um, but we're seeing things happening. Obviously, uh, 50 bip basis cut, US elections coming, a lot of inflows with the BTC ETFs, not so much with the Ethereum, but Ethereum and BTC travel together fairly well. Uh, hmm. But we'll see. We talked about there's a possible golden cross happening this week with Bitcoin with their moving averages. So could we see 71 by week's end? There is some. I want to say there's definitely a poly market prediction market for that. But yeah, really interesting. Any thoughts on what we're looking at right now, Chris? Would love to hear that from you, sir.
Oh man, I want to be just max bull right now, but we're in a pretty decent chop right now. So honestly, I don't know where the market's gonna go. But if so, like you're talking about poly market, there is a crypto bet going on with a couple people within the general crypto community. I'm sure you guys have heard of Credible Crypto, right, on Twitter.
Yes.
Um, so he actually just wagered. He's saying we're gonna go see, I'm pretty sure, 40 or 50 before we see 60. No, wait, where is it? But there's a nice little wager going on within crypto Twitter. I think this is the first time I've ever seen people actually put their money where their mouth is.
Wow.
So you should, yeah, it's against Credible Crypto and Trader IV. Trader IV thinks 71 by the end of week. Credible thinks below, I think, 60s. So
Wow. Going
you know
straight
what?
capo.
I'm sitting on the sidelines. I'm gonna watch them. There's a decent amount of money on the line. I'm pretty sure they both put up 10,000 US. So they're it's gonna be a cool battle to see. I'm excited.
Well,
So
we're about a year removed, about a year and a half removed from the bet
yep.
between. God, I forgot who was between. In any case, obviously they settled that bet
Hmm.
because we didn't see 100,000 Bitcoin within
Yeah.
90 days. There's no crazy hyperinflationary event that caused that. But, you know, seeing all this green, we're seeing a lot of buzz. If you zoom out, it looks like a tremendous bull flag is forming ever since
Yes,
that
it
high
does.
at 73. So ultimately, obviously, what can I really say? Obviously, not financial advice, do your own research. I am not one to take leverage in this market. I'm one to just play the LPs, play the concentrated liquidity, prey off the behavior of other investors and make tons of fees and yields. That's pretty much what a lot of our members have been doing for the last 6 months, and they're continuing to do moving forward. So we jokingly have a meme that says volatility is a yield farmer's best friend,
Yes.
and we'll we'll keep farming. That's for sure. But
Keep
yeah,
farming.
so outside of that, looking at bubbles, uh, yee.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That looks a little bit better. I like this. I like this.
Yes, obviously green up top. There's a lot of news about Athena right now that I think is very bullish. I'm not a big high tier meme coin guy, like interesting about Mog, interesting about Doge and Nero. It's starting to come back there, but we're starting to see some in Mew. Damn, what did I sell? Anyway, still bullish on Jupe. We'll continue to be bullish on Jupe, but we're seeing a lot of movement. We're seeing a lot of bids. A lot of people are very excited, and I think the news that's coming forward is going to be interesting. We're seeing more and more people take a lot of interest in the U.S. elections, so we are very close. Make sure you go out and vote, regardless of how you feel and who you
Hmm.
support. And yeah, we'll see what happens on the other side. Either way, most groups have been saying we're still going to go up and to the right, regardless of who actually wins the election. So
I think so as well. Crypto has a mind of its own, so
sure does, brother.
it's not like the stock market where it shuts off at 4:30 Eastern. 2 o'clock in the morning, it could have some massive moves. So I'm all for it. I'm excited to see.
Me too. One project that I'm assuming is hoping for more hype is World Liberty Financial. They had their they had their token sale on the 15th. Now they did lose a lot of support. People
Really?
running for the exits. Well, I was I was listening to the actual Twitter space, and they waited until the absolute last moment to mention that they are fully KYC'd, and you have to be a Reg S, like accredited investor, to buy the token. We did talk about this, when the token came out. We had the tokenomics. It's roughly 63% for the main sale. They're looking to raise 300 million. They have not done so. They have a Dune dashboard here for anybody who wants that. That'll be in the show notes. They have raised $11 million so far on the pre-sale. They are quite a bit from their goal. In fact, I think I saw that some holders were already selling some things. I'm not sure, but the WLFI token is a soulbound token, meaning it cannot be sold or transferred. It's a governance token as well. So for those of you thinking this is some moonshot token going to the moon, it's a governance token, so there has to be some sort of utility in holding it. But we'll see. It is an approved front end now for Aave. It'll be built on top of Aave after all of their lovely news about how it was being built. As you can see, they do have some buys. They have a good team. They have some people that have some knowledge. I'm actually surprised at how much I actually agree with a lot of things that Don Jr. says about DeFi. Uh,
You know,
as you can see, here are the here are the two outliers from Dolomite and Do Finance that are out here. But yeah, they're very suited up at this group, I must say. But
yeah.
they do have some decent advisors. Sandy Peng from Scroll, for example, is one that is interesting. So, I mean, I'm not in the market to buy, a lending AMM governance token. I don't know about how you feel about this, Chris, but um, it's
I try to
news.
stay. I stay away from those tokens. I don't know why. It's just I've been in crypto for a decent amount of time, and every single time, you have a all-star team, massive marketing. It always at the beginning doesn't start well. I
Right.
know they said that the contract was going to be hidden from scanners. I was able to scan
Nope.
it and actually look at it. So,
They gave
you
it.
know, so I'm in a lot of discords where I get alerts of every single token, no matter what chain it's on. Predominantly Solana and Ethereum. This popped up and everybody was like, "Is this the real one? Is this the real one?" Um, yeah. So I tend to stay away from that. I tend to
Yeah.
stay away from. I'm not saying it's a bad investment, but there's
Sure.
just too many people paying attention to it early on. Long term, hey, as long as they deliver, it could be a pretty sound investment.
Yeah, so I think the framing of this will be important, right? Because this will be towards people with high net worth investment opportunities and just large portfolios looking for a fairly safe spot to park assets because it is going to be a front end built on top of Aave. We're not going to see life changing yields. I don't think that's the point of this. I think this is part of their mission to slowly onboard people into DeFi because Don Jr.'s talking about how DeFi is the future of finance, things that I've been saying for the last 4.5 years, blah, 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 right? Um, we'll see. Like I said, the only reason we covered this is mainly because it's good to this is going to hit a lot of people, specifically people who are disenfranchised with the government, a lot of people who fit our basic ethos with regards to doing self-custody and doing all of this yourself, being your own bank. Stuff like this kind of feeds into this. So while it's probably not for the majority of our user base, to be quite honest, anything that they can do to bring more people into this space, that's kind of the thing, right? We just want to have more people coming into DeFi, seeing the potential, seeing all of the opportunities, regardless of what blockchain you're on,
Exactly.
and moving forward from there. So we'll go ahead and move on, since we want to get to definitely talk more about XRP.Cafe and First Ledger. Scroll has their airdrop coming. We talked about this last week. I talked about it very briefly. I only did a 20-minute show last week from the floor, permissionless, because Wi-Fi. But airdrop snapshot date is Sunday. So they telegraphed this. So people have been farming Scroll like crazy. So get all your badges, get all your Scroll marks together, and hopefully you have a decent drop. That's really about it. 22nd will be the airdrop claim availability for the TGE, and then we'll see how things shake out. I've been talking to the heads up at ZK Sync, and they're happy with the way things at ZK Sync are moving. Obviously, once Scroll is over, most likely people will kind of drop off from Scroll and probably move to the next target, which at this point is probably going to be either Say or
Probably Say, yeah.
Say or Linea. Linea is the other target.
The outflows from Solana to Say within the last couple of weeks has been absolutely wild to see. It's so crazy how people can like have a narrative switch like that.
Yeah.
And then the hive mind just goes. And it's cool to see though.
Yeah, Say and Sui. Both of them
Yeah.
have been pretty
Sui,
crazy.
Sui.
I just wanted to make sure. I thought you were talking about Sui, but it's fine. Say is good too. I mean, Say has been seeing some great. I actually met the team from Say last week as well. They're bullish on Beacon, but we're looking to definitely just see exactly what's going to be happening. Even though TPS isn't a metric that a lot of people really care about, they're really pushing TPS here because obviously, Ethereum mainnet being a bit of a slow dinosaur and monolithic compared to all these new lighter, more modular blockchain setups that are coming out now. People are looking at speed mainly for the purpose of, I think, health of infrastructure, being able to say that you have at least 10 to 15,000 transactions per second with sub-second, millisecond time to finality for blocks impresses some people. For me, I'm just interested to see why they're seeming to scale up, because Phantom Sonic is going to be roughly about 5K. Say is already at 15K. Mega ETH will be at 10K once it comes out. And then we have Supra here talking about 350K. What does it all mean? Probably not a whole lot, because for most people, like I talked to, our friends at Reserve, I was talking to Thomas, the CEO there. Base is plenty fast for the majority of people that are out there. And I'm sure XRP is also plenty fast once they get all those things running. And it's also very cheap. So
very cheap. And it is very fast. I mean, similar to every other blockchain out there in terms of speed, like Solana, almost near instant settlement time. So yeah, it's fast. We definitely can compete. Have you been paying attention to Monad at all? Where they're claiming true 10K TPS.
I'm not really allowed to. I have comments about Monad that made the Say team laugh very hard.
Yep.
Now, I will say this: I would love to have the Monad team come on and tell me, when are you really coming to mainnet?
Yeah. I mean, I've been tracking them for so long, and it's like,
exactly
when.
I mean, I take it in the same vein as Barachain, because Barachain wants you to think they're never coming to mainnet in a very memey kind of way, and I feel somewhat similarly about Monad, and I just kind of have to. But in any case, a lot of these faster chains are going to eat everybody's lunch, at least until Phantom Sonic releases in December. So good for Say, good for Sui, some of these other fast blockchains with quick finality. Go out and just farm them. Go out there until all the big ones start coming around. So we'll get over to XRP in just a second. I just want to bring up this last piece. Karate Combat announces the launch of its Up Layer 2 built on top of Hedera. To use the voice of Karate Combat. So there, if you use Hedera for Karate Combat, you can actually own the Karate token and use it to bet on things on Karate Combat. So that was like, I mean, that was the one thing they were doing when people were doing this on the screen, was go and buy Karate token. Um, am I shocked by these layer twos everywhere? No, because it's not about scaling. It's about what I think is going to be. I don't know how you feel about this, Chris. The idea about the era of app chains are coming now. Like this is out. Uniswap talked about their Unichain as a layer two. I believe
Hmm.
it's being built on top of OP Stack. Uh, Again, we're going to see more of this. This move for most users, this obfuscation away from the user, and just you're just going to know it's just going to work in the background. Doesn't matter about network stability. Doesn't matter about infrastructure. They're all interoperable now. They're all just talk to each other. They're all just they're all just pieces of each other in some way. Um, so it's going to be interesting. So really, for anybody who's curious about this, I have never been a fan of Hedera's layer one, uh, but hopefully this helps bring them into a more workable state. So anyway, enough of the news. Again, Chris, thanks again for being here. Chris from
Yeah, of course, of
XRP.Cafe.
course.
Check them out, XRP.Cafe, leading NFT marketplace on the XRP ledger, as well as another project we want to talk about with you, which is First Ledger. Uh, which one do you want to start with?
So let's start with Cafe because that's the baby.
Yep.
That's what got us into this scene. So XRP Cafe, we're the number one NFT marketplace on the XRPL. We have a team of 7 absolutely amazing guys. Now, how did we come about creating XRP Cafe? So when NFT support was roughly, I would say, 2, 3 weeks ready to be implemented, as I was talking about the UNL and the whole process previously, we were like, okay, the marketplaces that are out right now, one has a secondary marketplace token, which doesn't make sense at this given moment for NFTs because you can just use XRP. Again, why add more friction with a token? And then the other marketplace that everybody was gravitating towards actually ended up leaving the ledger. So, we had a lot of people because Adam, our developer, he's, I don't want to say the only one that could do it on the retail side, but there's only a few developers within the ledger that can actually, build amazing products. So, people have reached out to us and they were like, hey, can you guys make a market doing it? And we launched roughly 2 weeks after XLS 20, which is the NFT standard, went live. With like a 4 week development time, we had, really standard MVP that just showed like top 10 volume. We would help people facilitate their mints. Fast forward to right now, we have basically a full built out, fleshed out marketplace. Similar to Launch My NFT, you have an automated launch pad where you don't even need cafe friction, aka our team helping. Um, you launch the project. You can just go up to the create button, use our one of one minter, use our launch pad. So we're trying to make it as accessible as possible without as much friction as possible from our team. Of course, we do have a white label launching service as well, but that's for more projects that want to kind of KYC so we can do our background checks if we're going to do marketing for them.
No, that's awesome. I wanted to know a little bit more about the scene.
Yeah.
Clearly, there's volume being exchanged here on a daily basis.
Yep.
Um, Tell me more about the types of NFT traders or just regular traders that are coming to the cafe and finding about these collections. Is there a specific style that's really hot right now? Specific narratives,
Yeah.
utility? I guess is probably another question I would ask.
So I would say there's an appetite for art-based collections, more of the one of one style. We haven't really had a 10K boom yet, 10K PFP boom. There are some collections like X Punks, which at one point was the number one collection on chain, and then recently a collection under the name of Zertmon came out, which they're actually partnered with Futureverse. Um, they are an AI generated art collection, but they went from a Discord app. It's a Pokemon style game. Um, and it is very, very detailed in terms of what you can do with your NFTs, leveling, evolving, and all that good stuff. So I would say there's an appetite for NFTs for good quality and community centric art. Now, of course, if you're comparing, our volume to Solana or Ethereum, it's just not there yet. The XRPL is a fairly small ecosystem, but you got to realize majority of the people within the XRPL have been holding the token for X amount of years. You're not just coming in, buying the token and holding on to it. You're, I would say, majority of the time an OG. So um, you can kind of see similar things to that when it comes to the NFT scene. People see the long-term vision of XRP. They want to see the chain grow. So they're not just going to let the NFTs go for the current value, because if there's ever an explosion within the scene, the OG NFT projects are going to see price appreciation. The new projects are going to see price appreciation. So a lot of people are diamond hands in the XRPL community, as you know, with the token holders as well.
Yeah. So one thing we talked about before we came online was um, certain teams that are looking to move over to XRPL, right? So what do you think is the main allure? What's good for builders and other projects coming over to XRPL that would probably add to their success here on Cafe and other marketplaces that'll probably inevitably pop up?
Yeah, for sure. So I would say number one, there's no blue chip NFT project right now. So if you're coming over from another chain and your marketing funds aren't that extensive, this is a perfect chain for you. I mean, again, we've done zero outside marketing just because we're focusing on the XRPL right now and trying to branch out into the actual holder community rather than try to go into other more fleshed out ecosystems like Solana or Ethereum and steal users there. So there's a huge opportunity for being the number one NFT project and the essential blue chip mindset, as well as just everything else. And the barrier for entry within the XRPL again is minimal. You can come into this ecosystem, minimal marketing funds, put in a little bit of elbow grease in the community, make friends, and you can essentially foster the whole community. And then if you're coming cross chain, bridge your friends over, and then I mean, you have a for sure winner right there almost.
Love it. So let's transition over to First Ledger. Like I'm assuming this is a bit of a complementary product
Yes,
to the
it is.
cafe. So tell
Yes.
me about the story about which came first, and then also why you built this one.
Yeah. So, cross chain meme coins are absolutely blowing up, no matter, like we saw with Sui, like we saw with Solana, Ethereum. I mean, there's just so much volume. And the one thing we're missing out on the XRPL is actually on chain activity. So within the NFT scene, we're roughly doing 5 to 10K USD per day in volume. Um, and as a builder, you're looking at that and seeing, hey, that's not enough volume for me to justify moving my community over here because there's not that much money within the ecosystem. So seeing how amazing of an onboarding process it is with meme coins, as crazy as that sounds, um, a lot of people can sort of relate to it because again, Solana to Sui outflows 170 million in a single day. Meme coins are probably at this moment for the retail side one of the best onboarding tools that you can use outside of high yield APY farming. Um, so yeah, First Ledger came out just due to the fact of there was no non KYC token platforms that allowed you to launch a token. As tokens were launching, outside of the First Ledger platform, they weren't open in liquidity pools. So the token would just essentially be an order book, which
Mm,
again, nobody wants to buy because then you're going to have to stack the sell side, the buy side, and you're kind of just sitting there waiting for all this money to come into. So we were like, okay, we want to take the ideology of pumped up fund in the sense of how quickly it is to launch a token. But on the flip side, since we can't do lending and loaning, we're forcing the issuer, if you want to launch a token, we want you to put money backing that token. And then as that token's being launched, we want you to burn liquidity prior to going live. So what you're looking at right now, there's a lot of tokens. So we index every single token on the ledger. We put priority tokens first that are launched on First Ledger, and we're gonna have some filtering put in there later today. So it looks kind of weird, but so we're pumped out fund in the sense of launching a token, but we force you to actually provide LP to mitigate rug pulls and actually burn the LP prior to the token going live. So you can't just say I'm done, pull it. On top of that, we're similar to Photon in the sense of a full web-based trading platform, BullX because it integrates with Telegram on the web app, and then BonkBot because you can use the Telegram app on mobile to actually trade tokens. So we're kind of a combination of a lot of platforms. We have referral programs, point systems, and a lot of cool things coming in the pipeline to try to kick off some more on-chain activity. So when people do check out the XRPL, it's not just NFTs, and you're not just sitting there like, all right, now what do I do?
And I think you just answered the question, why should you care about NFTs and XRPL? I mean, my take on this is specifically because you want volume. You don't want people coming over to, frankly, a dead chain. Uh,
Hmm.
the NFTs, meme coins, they help drum up a lot of activity for a lot of people who are curious about this. Like if you think about chains like Sui, Aptos, even things like Cadena and name a chain that aren't super huge yet, but they
Yeah.
got that lift in the beginning because of things like NFTs, like meme coins.
Yep.
I am in multiple groups where they are often just looking at all kinds of different meme coins and NFTs and different types of ecosystems. This is how BTCL2s like Merlin and stuff kind of got off the ground, doing NFTs or things with ordinals and stuff like that, and runes. These are things that draw in initial activity to get the infrastructure tested up and running so that when bigger people with more money start coming in to start doing things like liquidity pools, that stuff, the foundation for all that is laid. Um, Telegram right now with Ton is also facing that same thing, is that they have tons of people doing the mini app farming, but not a ton on the DeFi side. And the DeFi side, in my personal opinion, is suffering a bit for that. If you go to Stone, Stone.fi or DDust, it is stupid expensive to do liquidity pools on there because most people are, they're still testing things out, and maybe it's better now, but most people are just there farming, tap coins and stuff like that. So,
Hmm.
um, stuff like this is needed to help bring in the audience, I think. And then once more serious people come around because better protocols, find their way over there, it's going to be interesting. Again, we don't have smart contracts yet on XRPL. That's coming
Not
soon.
yet.
Do you have an idea on that, Chris, on how soon that might happen?
So I don't want to say a date. So just kind of gonna explain the whole process of actually getting amendments voted into the XRPL. So there's
Okay.
a group of 32 validators, or what we call UNLs. Now, let's say, for example, somebody wants to add functionality to the ledger. They will write up a proposal, post it on a public GitHub repo. You look at it as the development community or the people a part of the UNL. Once it goes through sufficient testing, then it goes into a voting process. Once we reach above an 80% threshold, so what is that, like 26, 27 people voting on that amendment, then we go into a 2-week voting phase. Now, keep in mind, NFTs, we joined the scene back in 2021. We didn't get NFTs until 2022, the tail end in October. So it's not a quick thing, unfortunately. So I would say, just to be safe, smart contracts are a huge overhaul to the ledger. I'm guessing they're going to take, I would say, probably a year, maybe a year and a half
Okay.
before we see the support. It's not instant, it's not overnight like people want it to be. But at the end of the day, we push something like that live, it adds more functionality. And imagine there was some sort of exploit within the contract and that people were getting hurt. That would all fall back on Ripple. And Ripple, as you know, they don't want that right now.
No, they're
So
very specific on what they want right now, which is
exactly.
we want
So the
the we want
process
the
is
infra.
slow, but it's a good process. So it's worth it.
Excellent. I didn't know that you guys have been around since 2022 on this type of stuff. So
Yeah, we started as an NFT project, transitioned it into a marketplace when we saw those issues, and now we're transitioning. Well, we're gonna find a way to combine the whole entire ecosystem
yeah.
together. But we want to keep them separate because, okay, you come to our NFT project, and then people are just going to correlate the NFT project with the marketplace, and then expect the NFTs to have utility with the marketplace, which again we don't want to do. That's completely separate. And then with the tokens, we want to keep the tokens and the NFTs separate, but somehow, not reward users, but incentivize users to use all of our platforms and stay within our ecosystem. You can kind of see what we're doing with First Ledger and the leaderboards and point system. So similar expectations for Cafe as well.
Excellent. So, if I wanted to get started, can I create a website account beside before the Telegram account, or um,
So, yep, you can, but it's all ran through Telegram. So, what it's going to do is, as you go through the wallet creation process, it's actually going to kick you back out into Telegram. Again,
okay,
I can't stress this enough. Um, it is a self custody wallet. We provide you with an encrypted file and then also your seed phrase. Self custody, so your keys, your crypto. If you were to misplace them, we can't get that back for you. So that's one thing we're really leaning on and saying, hey guys, your keys, your crypto, but we're not storing any information for you. We don't
nor
want
should you.
exactly. So we ran into a little issue this morning, unfortunately, but again, practice makes perfect. Store your keys in a safe spot. Don't share with anybody else. Your keys, your crypto comes to it's what comes with being an adult and having the having your own wallet and whatnot. You need to practice good key management.
And we talk about this a lot. I would definitely say if you're going to be doing this, ladies and gentlemen, to make sure that until that, and we there's no clue when we'll have ledger support or Trezor support or anything like that. This should definitely be a hot wallet, a burner wallet that you should use. Send funds to it. Don't have anything touching anything you already have out there to this wallet. It's just something you'll just fund and then you'll just use and then ship back out as you need to. So treat it that way.
Yep,
Um, it's cool that you've done this in a Telegram mini app, which is interesting. But at the same time, amongst all of the other Telegram mini apps that are out there, it's
just
still
be safe.
Telegram. You should
Yep.
be safe.
Now, one thing to note, since we don't have smart contract support, it's good because you can't hook up to a D app because we don't have dApps,
Right.
um, and get drained. So you actually have to manually sign that transaction
Ah,
to get hurt or, drained, I guess, in that sense.
right.
So, but again, we're, like you said, we're telling everybody to treat it as a hot wallet. Don't keep your whole entire bag on there. Granted, you're not going to get drained um, unless somebody grabs your Telegram info. But then again, that's something that we can't control. That's out of our wheelhouse. Why are
Right.
so I see why are projects going to Telegram? I mean, it's just so ease of onboarding. It's normal in every it's I don't know, if you go to every other ecosystem and you're looking for the retail side token scene, it's only Telegram. I mean, Photon came out, which is off of Telegram, but it's all through Telegram. So we just wanted to make it as familiar as possible with other chains when it comes to onboarding. Um, could we ever go to an app in the near future? Probably. But the reason why we're not having Zaman support, Ledger support, or Crossmark support, which are other XRPL wallets, of course, is just because of how we process the transactions. So, number one, we batch the signing of the trust line, which is essentially interacting with a contract on an EVM chain, um, where you need to basically sign that, then go back, then go back to the token and purchase it. We basically batch all of that together, so it saves you like 10, 15 seconds, which in a low volume market cap environment like that 10 to 15 seconds, depending on the coin, can mean a decent amount. And then on top of that, again, with the referral program, um, and then on top of that with the point system, that's the incentive for using our wallet instead of everything else out there.
I think it's a good question that you asked, though, Susan. So ultimately, I think the answer here is you're building tools that people will use, right? There's
Exactly.
300 million wallets on and active users on Telegram, and for something like this that isn't fully baked inside of a DApp, going with a mobile platform or a desktop messaging platform like Telegram was the easiest way for them to get users into the system. Um, Obviously, with the EVM sidechain coming and all these other things, they're going to be great built on top of XRP Ledger. So it's interesting that they've baked all of this in already, and they're just building everything on top. To Chris's point, there are multiple wallets in this space, so you don't
Yep.
have to use First Ledger. But if you want to use something like Zaman or Zum or some of these others that are out there,
Yeah.
you can certainly look into those. We'll have a guide on all the ones you can find out there. But this is all still very early, right? This is
Very
something that we
early.
talk about all the time. We love to be early. This is all experimental. do not put your entire bag into stuff like this. This is all meant for you to, we talk about our 40-40-20 thing where we put everything in buckets. You have the high risk stuff that's like 2 to 5% of your portfolio. You're checking it out, seeing if you can find a way to make some really interesting gains to then, buy more of your long hold assets. So this is no different, but I'm very excited to at least see XRP and Ripple moving with something like this to try and, at least for long-term holders of Ripple, find some ways to have that money work for you. Is it, are we going to see more mechanisms on their chain doing this on the ledger? Absolutely. This is just the first beginnings. And obviously, if you have an appetite for NFTs and stuff like that, and if you wanted to participate in the ledger now, farm the leaderboard, get points, and get the cred and the status of doing so, feel free. Our goal here is to highlight what XRP and they've been doing through their hard work and doing what they're doing to help establish the community. As you all know, a lot of times it is meme coins and NFTs that start a lot of these revolutions. It's the biggest oil driver right now. Look at Solana, look at Base, look at all these other places that have a .fund style mechanism. People are participating, and that's kind of the long and the short of it, right?
Yep. And as time goes on, again, we're coming up on 24 hours in terms of release in the next hour. So this soft release was more of a litmus test to see how people are interacting with the product, where the pain points are. Do we increase minimum LP spend? Do we increase this, decrease that? So it's going really well. We're taking all the feedback as possible, and then we're pushing a massive update today to get everything squared away with the issues that people were having, which is cool to see. So everybody's happy with it. I can't complain, honestly, and I'm blown away. I think just looking at DApp Radar, we just crossed 100K in volume within a 24-hour period, which, keep in mind, the XRPL NFT ecosystem does roughly $7,500 to $10K maybe per day in volume. So
wow,
this
congrats.
is crazy to see that there's an appetite. Maybe it comes back to, again, the quality of projects being launched within the XRPL and the NFT scene, because it's weird. There's projects like Tessera, Zertmon, where they'll launch and instant sellout. But then, unfortunately, some other projects they'll launch and get absolutely no traction. So at least with tokens, they're a little bit more, it has that instant gratification for people. So we're hoping a trickle down effect. People make money on tokens, come into the NFT ecosystem, increase that on-chain activity, and then more teams will come over to launch products, either NFTs, actual applications on chain, because there's more volume. So we're hoping best case scenario happens. And we're going to work hard on making sure that does happen.
Absolutely. No, and I think that's the one part you mentioned that's important, is that your project is not a KYC project, where there are a lot of projects on XRPL that are.
Exactly.
So growing that ecosystem, there are a lot of people who prefer to stay, anon or pseudonymous here in this space, and the ability to do that while still making some gains, regardless of how you make them, is important to many people in this space.
Exactly. And yeah, one thing I want to touch on with the KYC. So right now, prior to First Ledger launching, the only platforms were KYC only, and people would use that as the standard. When I tell you, majority of the KYC projects that launched on the ledger back in 2021, 2022, they're not here anymore. So people kind of associate KYC with the end all be all. This is safe. But at the end of the day, this is still crypto. I mean, it's always nice to be safe, and always do your own research. KYC is a good indication that the people aren't doing anything weird, but at the end of the day, we're still in crypto. So don't take that as 100%.
Yeah, of course. And we saw a lot of KYC this past week. A lot of people looking to move within that frame. But to me, I thought, and myself as a developer, I think this is interesting that they feature these 5 languages. No Go here, no Rust. This is JavaScript, Python, Java, PHP, and WebSocket.
Yeah.
Interesting. But what's good about this is, if you're a no coder, You know, little cursor and Replit will
This is the place to be. This is the
Yep.
place to be.
Awesome. Well, hey, I wanted to be respectful of your time. Thanks for coming on. We're definitely gonna have Chris back on for panel for a couple other days. Really enjoyed vibing with you, sir. Please feel free to plug what you like here.
Thank you, man. Thank you again for having me on here, and excited to come back on later. I'll bring some more technical guys on here so you guys can get into the weeds about everything going on.
Sounds good. Again, make sure you, if you haven't joined us, please do at our free group at TVL, Total Value Locked, absolutely free. Learn from the best in the business. We do have our boot camp this Saturday where we're going to be talking about Bitcoin and L2s. If that interests you, feel free to sign up. We'd love to have you. And of course, you have access to all of our free information here at Total Value Locked. Again, we're growing 1,000 members. Appreciate each and every single one of you for coming along. And yeah, had a great permissionless, met great people like Chris and other great projects. We're going to feature them in the next coming weeks. So
Awesome.
stick around for me, Chris, as we do our little outro. And I just want to say thanks again. We're here again every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back with another panel full of guests and some interesting stuff for you guys to look at with regards to, you know, what's in DeFi and learning more and more and more. Thanks for joining us today, Chris. Everybody take care. Have a great day. As we like to say here on the show, beacons up.
Beacons up.
See you guys later. Have a great day, everyone. See you next week.